Hi Ellen, thank you very much for joining us today. If you could start off by telling us a little bit about the work that the Sunlight Foundation is doing.
Sure. Well, the Sunlight Foundation is now a 7-year-old CSO organization. We're based in Washington, and our focus is really about accountability of government and its officials, but particularly accountability in the context of using new technology as a way to make data particularly accessible to citizens, things they want to know, information they need to know, really, to be able to ask questions and to participate in a contemporary government. So we build tools and websites and mobile apps. We create huge pools of data and provide the technical infrastructure for that, for other people to use. And so we're a rather large organization, and we do extensive blogging, we do extensive tech projects, and we have a very large policy shop as well. And our policy work extends not only at the national US level, but we're working globally as well.
Okay, and we're here at the Open Government Partnership Summit. What does open government mean to you?
Well, open government is a very big term, and we're particularly concerned about open data, which is just one part of open government. Open government also includes opening up the processes of decision making, inviting citizens into that process, and making sure that data is available in its most basic, raw, machine-readable formats, so that citizens or organizations like Sunlight or academic institutions or businesses can actually make sense of it and do various things with it. But open government is a term that has come to mean a term in which government embraces its citizens and invites it in almost every aspect of its work.
How is the Sunlight Foundation using the internet to open up governments and make them more accountable?
Well, lots of ways. I mean, the technology, all of the technology is absolutely essential, to what we do. So we scrape government websites. For example, we look at all 50 states in the United States. We scrape each of their legislative sites, then put it into a common data format and create a site called openstates.org. And this is a site where you can compare all legislative information in one fell swoop. And you can do that on the web or do that through a mobile app. We have another site that we just relaunched called opencongress.org. This takes the information of our US Congress, everything from the laws that are passed, the amendments that are proposed, to campaign finance, political information, puts it together on one site and allows citizens to comment and think about and engage with legislation. This is one of our hugely popular sites, and we've just redesigned that. And we also have an app, a mobile app, which is used 75,000 times a week by people. So the building of tools, the mashing of data together to provide information in an easily accessible way is really at the heart of many of Sunlight's successes. Some of the technical interfaces that we also create empower third parties as well. So our data is used over and over and over again. And I regard that personally as one of our biggest successes. Okay.
And which future technologies do you think are going to be really important to the open government movement?
Well, I think the most used technologies, it's not the newest and the brightest and the shiniest necessarily. So everyone communicates by email today. So email is a hugely important way to connect with people. I think clearly mobile applications are a way to engage more people, because not everyone has web access in the world, and lots more people have smartphones, and many more people, of course, just have regular, simple mobile devices. And so I think moving in that space is going to be very important for us in terms of connecting real citizens with the information and the work of government.
Okay, and by kind of making government data available and open to citizens, do you think there's ever a risk that the data is going to get misinterpreted?
Well, yes, I think data can always be misinterpreted, but I think if the data is there and is analyzed by, in effect, intermediary organizations, I don't imagine that citizens are going to go into the bowels of the Treasury Department in any country and look at every single transaction. They're really going to rely on other parties. They have to decide whether they can trust that kind of analysis and the kind of data and how open those organizations data stores are is also equally very important. But they're going to use these third-party ways of interpreting data and making it easier for people to use. So I'm less concerned about that. I'm more concerned about governments keeping their data secret or keeping it out of sight, if not literally secret, than I am about opening up the data and opening up to misinterpretations, because that can always be corrected with more accurate interpretations.
Okay, and how can we as kind of citizens, how can we help to ensure that kind of governments are accountable and that the data kind of is open and available?
Well, I think one thing that citizens can do is to begin to treat government the way we treat commercial services. So if I order a pair of shoes tomorrow from Zappos and they promise to deliver it to me within 24 hours and they don't, then I'm never going to buy from that company again. And so I think that kind of cultural expectation we have from companies using new technology is what we should expect from our government. We demand information, we expect it in real time from whatever sources we're looking at. We really need to begin to expect it from government as well. And I think there's a cultural change that is happening that will have a huge impact on what citizens demand and expect from government. And that is more of the real-time, 24/7 news cycle that we all live, and just the constant way that we all expect to be in touch.
Okay, great. And what are you hoping to kind of take away from this summit?
Well, I think for me, being at the summit is very important, because it's really important to understand the role that the OGP itself plays, and then how individual countries' promises fit into that. So I think the OGP is a terrific initiative, and it really allows us to hold different countries throughout the world to a new standard of openness and reform and change. But we have to understand that those commitments are voluntary, that these governments are making, which gives us an opportunity to push our individual countries to make them more than voluntary, to create laws and executive orders around that require these kinds of commitments to actually happen. In our own countries, the same thing is true. We have to push our governments well beyond where they want to go, and we have to expose when that is not working, when the collaboration that is supposed to be taking place between civil society and government is not really collaboration, but is really being lectured at by government or being told what we're going to do. We have to be able to explore that and talk about it in a public arena.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.